Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Certain Point of View, and this is our Schmoedown related podcast, and I am your host, Jake Berlin, and I am joined today by my regular co-host, Brian Avalosino. How you doing over there, man?
Excited.
Yeah, we have quite a show today. We've been teasing it for the past couple days now on our Twitter, so if you saw that, you know exactly what's coming. But before we get to that, we are here in what's supposed to be sunny California, and it is dumping outside, unfortunately for us on the West Coast. How you hanging in over there since we are still kind of in quarantine?
I mean, it's no different than any other day at this point. Sure. Just same old, except now it's raining in the middle of summer. Well,
I know it's middle May, and it was like 100 degrees 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden it's 50 plus degrees with rain. It's so crappy.
This year can't get itself together. It's fun. Just accept it at this point.
Fair enough. Yeah, so we have quite a show today, guys, and we're going to be tackling a lot of different things. And that is all based on our guests that we have with us today. And this is all via Brian coming from a galaxy far, far away. We have Alex and Mollie Damon joining us on the show today. How you guys doing over there?
Hey, good.
Good.
It's not raining here. It's very hot.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, is it humidity over there in Atlanta? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cold and very wet here right now, which sucks.
Yeah, it's already getting up to the 90s here. So.
Ugh, no, not with humidity.
I'm sure it's supposed to rain today, tomorrow, and then I bet you on Tuesday it'll probably be like 97 degrees. Unfortunately, that's just how California goes, and it's not very fun. But yeah, so we have a lot of cool things to talk about today. Obviously, Alex has competed in a couple exhibition matches as of late, and we're going to be discussing that. But obviously, the big news too, as of recent, Mollie is officially inside the Schmoedown with a faction. Discussing that as well, and they are both competing in separate tournaments that are coming just around the corner. And so we have quite a bit to talk about today. But let's go ahead and start kind of chronological order a little bit. Just touch right off the top. A lot of people know your story as far as your channel and you inside the Schmoedown. But for those who may not know, how did you get exactly involved inside the Schmoedown? Was it just a phone call? Was it Celebration? Because I know you guys both competed in the match at Celebration. What was that about, and how did you guys kind of get involved?
I think it kind of started through Ken mostly, and I was watching Jedi Council, and one day I was just like, I'm still bad at Twitter, I think, but I realized, I don't follow any of these people, so I just like went through and I followed everyone, and Ken shot me a DM and just said, "Thanks, big fan," and I was like, "Oh, well, I'm a big fan," and then we got to talking, and then at Celebration, I saw him and Mark and Christian walking around, so we introduced ourselves and
in Orlando.
Yeah, Celebration Orlando. And Ken said, "Hey, we're doing the Schmoedown here," and I mentioned like, "Well, I'm probably going to be like really busy working on stuff," and he was like, "Here's my phone number. When you're done, just like text me and I'll let you in the side, so you don't have to wait in line or anything." So that's we are standing. I think you can see us in a shot or two. We're standing off to the side of that Schmoedown where Ken won the championship, and from there our bromance blossomed. I love Ken.
So, yeah, I'm just there.
Well, you were there then, but now you're inside, doing your thing. So Ken seems like a guy that has a bromance with a lot of different people. Yeah. He just seems like a very lovable human being.
He's very easy to like.
Yeah.
Even though he's a heel.
Yeah, well, it's funny. He's like kind of brought himself back into the league with that video last week. Heel Ken could be coming back now with the tournament and everything. So picking up from that, you compete inside a match and everything. Did you just get hooked right away with the setting on it, or what is it about the Schmoedown that kind of just keeps you coming back?
Oh, I mean, I liked the Schmoedown. I like movie trivia regardless, and like I started my channel to be better at Star Wars trivia specifically. So it was already up my alley, and so I just asked Christian. I can't remember if I asked first or if he asked first, but somebody asked the other if I could be involved, and I was very excited to do that. So yeah, it's just fun, and I mean, I can't stop now. I'm not gonna
No, you can't.
I'm not gonna give the belt back and be like, I'm done. Nah, someone's gotta take it from me.
We started doing like Star Wars trivia at Dragon Con.
Right.
Like we started that years
8 years ago.
Yeah. So we were like, oh, we can do Star Wars movie trivia on another show on the internet.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian. You got a question?
So what was it like competing, Alex, in that championship match that was just
General,
battle of
like just everything.
everything?
Yeah, I was excited for that exhibition match. Probably out of all of the ones, I think I told Christian I would do like 5 or 6 of them. I'm glad he only gave me 2, especially like I said Back to the Future, and I watched that one, and I was like, oh, thank God.
That match is insane. That match is absolutely incredible. It's so good.
But the exhibition one I was excited about because it was kind of a toss up. But sometimes I watch a singles match, including championship ones, and I'm like, I would have done really well there. And sometimes they go the other way. So I was just kind of crossing my fingers and hoping I got lucky with some of the questions I was given, and I happened to know almost all of round 1. I got very lucky with my Star Wars spin in round 2. And then in my round 3, I was like, I was thrilled I answered a 5-point sports question. That's just happened to be a sports movie I love and have seen many times. So the luck went my way, but I was glad to show off that I don't only know Star Wars.
Yeah, he came out of the room and he's like, I just want to make sure people know I have layers.
Yeah.
How do you do in general trivia, Molly? Is that something that you're interested in too?
I can hold my own, but I don't think I would be anywhere near able to compete with those guys.
Well, in the Atlanta match, the Merle Bateman match, you were like leaning into my ear, whispering a lot of correct answers that I didn't know, first of all, and I think some of them they didn't know. And again, it was just up your alley. It was like some 80s John Hughes movies or something.
Yeah, I would totally do like a John Hughes movie exhibition thing if they did that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to start doing more categories for exhibitions.
I've been trying.
Popular.
Yeah, I've been trying to push Indiana Jones for Alex for a while on the Facebook page. So
I don't.
Molly, maybe you can do. Maybe you can do a Buffy.
Is there someone? Oh, go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say Rachel and her and Buffy would be.
Oh yeah, if they wanted to expand into TV shows, I would dominate in Buffy.
They could just do questions about the movie.
Oh.
Alex, do you know anybody who is like Indiana Jones hooked, like you are inside the league? Is there anybody else that talks about it?
Yeah, Mara Canopic. She
okay.
Used to be Indiana Jones, and I remember, was it Spectacular 2 years ago? I think she was competing and was doing some deep cut answers from Indy. I think she got like 2 in an IG match, and I was impressed.
That would be fun. That would be really, really fun.
I think I've got that exhibition.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, well, so you competed in the match of champions, and then we have the big one from this last week, the Lord of the Rings, which just set like the social media for Schmoedown on fire with how great it was. Absolutely insane. I couldn't believe how long it was. Like I kept looking over at Brian, and being like, "What's the time on this match right now?" And it ended up being like an over hour long. I'm sure you're sitting there just being like, "Okay, who's gonna get a question wrong? Who's gonna get a question wrong?" We obviously knew that competing in IG now that you had some knowledge, but we didn't know how much that knowledge was. How was it competing against the likes of a Robert Parker, whose knowledge is obviously off the charts for this type of stuff?
Yeah, I was warned beforehand that, like, hey, the way you know Star Wars, Parker knows Lord of the Rings. And I was like, well, the way I know Star Wars is almost as well as Lord of the Rings. Like, Lord of the Rings was my second childhood obsession. So I went really heavy into the lore growing up then. I wasn't all that worried about it. Like, I was kind of like, I thought it would come down to me and Parker, and I thought it would be in overtime. So that's exactly what happened. And then at a certain point, you're both kind of like, all right, I think we've proven ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a relief to, like, when it's over, for me at least. I'm like, all right, I did well. I only missed 2 questions and he missed one of those. And it's just freaking movie quotes trip me up. I've said it before. Like, people get mad at me because I tip my hand and I talk about my strengths and weaknesses, and I'm like, I don't care. People can know.
Christian gets mad at you.
Is
know.
that something? Is that something that Roxy comes at you two for?
She told me to stop tweeting about what I'm watching. I think anyone that has seen my matches, and every time I get a who said it, I just go freaking quotes. Like, they know. That's what we study the most, though.
Yeah. Well, for the Lord of the Rings thing, like if it weren't for the Hobbit movies, you wouldn't have to study for that.
That's true.
He just knows that stuff on hand.
Wow.
Coming from
boy.
two people who know absolutely nothing about Lord of the Rings,
No.
are any of those questions like incredibly deep cut, or are they kind of like surface level questions for someone like you and Parker?
I'd say it was a mixed bag. I mean, the ones that we missed, the one about the flags behind
The flag.
Those are like details where you have to pause it and pay attention. I'll admit freely, I did not know Kevin Smet's 5-pointer. I may, who knows what I would have guessed, but I didn't have any confident answer there.
That one was tough.
Those are the ones that are also tough, where it's like, okay, you have to pause the movie and count all of those extras and stuff. Like I did feel like I got the easiest 5-pointer. It was so easy. I was like, they're trying to trick me or something, and but that's how it goes sometimes.
Fair enough.
Well, so you faced Parker in the Lord of the Rings. Would you want to see him inside a normal IG tournament or IG round?
I mean, sure. Like, it's probably gonna happen here soon. I don't know.
That's fair. That's very possible. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to free agency, because some big waves were made, obviously, a few weeks ago, and one of those big waves was Mollie, and you were obviously sought out by quite a bit of factions. It was well known. Ended up choosing Sam Levine and the Usual Suspects. What was it about them that kind of made you decide to choose them and that entire team?
I mean, to be honest, Sam is just charming through email. And I love Sam and Rachel, and I was just like, I could have gone with Roxy and we could have been in the same faction, but I was like, no, I want to add like another layer of like competition to this. So yeah, I went with them.
So if you can say, which other faction or factions were you considering, or maybe on your radar, I should say? I know, actually, I asked you in one of the
Live streams,
Lego live streams, and you said someone with a strong female manager. So like the Den, I think you said.
Yeah. This was like before I knew if I was gonna get drafted at all, and I was like, I think it would be fun to be in the Den, or corruption might be kind of fun.
That's Brian's faction. That's Brian's faction.
It's not my faction. I just love. I'm a bad guy person, so I mean,
a lot of people thought that I was gonna go with corruption because of my whole dark gray thing, and so.
Well, and that very mysterious Instagram post you made with the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So it led people in the wrong direction. That's what we thought, and we obviously read into it. So it was fun to see you go with the Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
I think all you meant was by that post was that you weren't going to go basically with my faction, that you were trying to throw some chaos into this dynamic.
Yeah. I made that post because that was me basically being like, I'm taking this belt.
Yeah.
From my husband.
Yeah.
So how does the studying go now that you both are on separate factions? Even though you're not facing each other, is it kind of separated, or is it still at the same pace as it's always been?
I think it's pretty much the same. I might start feeding him wrong answers, but even then, I don't think that would work.
I mean, I don't know when I'm competing in Star Wars now.
Yeah.
So like right now I'm helping her study. And I mean, it only helps if you win the tournament, because then there's less pressure on me, because then the belt stays here. That's really all
You don't got to ship it anywhere or anything like that. It makes it easy.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family.
Well, speaking of playing soon, you do have an upcoming match. The Star Wars division is getting going, or Star Wars tournament, excuse me, is getting going next week, and we have the first match of Ace and Quevedo. But you have Adam Witt on your radar coming up, and he has been on Twitter a little bit talking. He quote tweeted one of our tweets saying that we have not just one but two of his upcoming competitors, and he seems to be overlooking you just a little bit. Do you have anything to say about that, or how excited you are to play in this first match?
Not really. I mean, I watched his match, and like he definitely knows his stuff, and I don't know. I'm just excited to compete again, and I think the two of us, I think it'll be a good match.
I mean, we were both impressed by that Dulce Dauphine
Oh,
pull.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think
I still want to know if he knew that and was
playing
just
it up.
playing it up.
Well, that's I think
Because for that to be something that you dig out of your head,
I think he knew and was playing it up, but I think he hit it well. Where sometimes people do repeat, and it's like, okay, you can tell they know. It
Bateman.
seemed like he was,
Bateman.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was thinking, but then his reaction afterwards made me think he knew it. But still, like, it was a surprise to me. I thought that, oh man, he doesn't have it, and then he absolutely did, and that's a very, very hard pull.
Yeah.
That's something that we would not have known.
No.
And we consider ourselves at some point some kind of massive Star Wars fans.
It's way beyond our stretch, that's for sure.
Brian, you got one?
Yeah. So Alex, you play Jen Kemp in the IG. Excited? Ready to go?
I think nervous, but mostly because I don't know much about her. I know she's from the fan leagues, and that's where Smets came from, and that's where Parker came from. So I know not to underestimate her. I know not to think like, oh, well, it's just from the fan league. It's like, no, that's probably a bad sign. But I've only watched one match of hers from the fan leagues, and it wasn't an IG specific one, but like she knows movie trivia, so I assume she knows IG. I mean, I'm just studying away. We'll
Mollie, you have a dilemma because she's obviously on your faction.
Yeah.
Are you going to be going for? I mean, you probably won't reveal, but are you going to be going for Jen
You don't have to
or
tell
your
her.
husband in this one?
I mean,
You can cheer for both. You can be happy no matter what.
I'll be honest. Like if we're studying and like if he's competing, like I want him to win. If he doesn't win, he's in trouble. So.
Oh.
That's fair. That's fair.
We're on the East Coast, so it's like we kind of have to act as our B team managers. Roxy's not here to crack the whip, so Molly is like, "Are you watching a movie?" And I'm the same way. Like let's break out the Trivial Pursuit cards and
Right. Put your phone away. Actually watch the movie.
Or Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have a question about that because I have no idea what Animal Crossing is. I have not been paying attention to it at all. Is it just like an Apple, like a phone game?
No, Nintendo
Good game on the
Switch.
Switch,
Oh, yeah. See,
That'll be probably the thing that gets in the way of our studying the most.
it's just like a nice, relaxing way to spend a couple hours. Like you have little chores to do, and you get a sense of accomplishment.
that's fair.
It's just a goofy, like, I don't know, heartwarming way to spend a couple hours.
But yeah, it's a big time waster.
Yeah.
Well, it helps when we're in quarantine and nothing going on. So yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I guess the one thing that I did want to ask out of all this is, and it's a question that comes up a lot. Sam Witwer. We know that at some point, hopefully, we will get a match of this. And like you said, we don't know when you're going to be playing next. Probably more than likely whenever the Star Wars tournament ends later on this year. But I know that at some point you do want to face him. Is it something that is like the ultimate goal in the Schmoedown to like solidify that you do have this belt to face him?
I mean, yes, but I also, from what I've heard, it sounds like he doesn't really have any interest in coming back. Even if he were to beat me, it's like we could wind up in the same situation. I understand why he wouldn't want to, and I respect that. I'm always up to face him because he's the one that got away. But I think I've proven myself at this point. I think people know that it would be a great match regardless.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and it would definitely have to be an Iron Man match at that point.
Yes.
I love the Iron Man, honestly, because
So do I. Yeah, I agree.
it takes the luck out of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's just straight knowledge, but I also understand for the writers that's got to be hell.
Coming up with all those
Yeah.
questions in one category is definitely a hard thing to come by. I mean, look at the Lord of the Rings match, for example.
Uh-huh.
20 extra rounds on top of what they already had planned. So, Brian, you got anything else?
Just that one question I was throwing to you earlier. What you
Oh
were-
yeah, so we have a separate show on a different channel, and we talk Star Wars a little bit here and there. And we got in a little bit of a tiff the other day with our other buddy about who do you think may be the epitome of what a Jedi is supposed to be? And the argument was between Obi-Wan and Ahsoka after all of the Clone Wars stuff. And it's something that we did want to throw out there and ask you.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, between those two, I would choose Ahsoka.
No,
Yes.
not even a.
Yes.
He's gonna be
we
so
discussed
pissed.
this on our own channel as well, and I think that is what the Siege of Mandalore even was trying to show. And it's not completely fair to Obi-Wan, and which I think he even says in the episodes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Ahsoka's just he's not trying to be, but like when the clones turn on her, she refuses to kill them.
Mhm.
Obi-Wan goes the opposite direction again. What's he gonna do? Like it doesn't feel like he had that much of a choice, but I think that's what they were trying to say with the Siege of Mandalore, is to find the other solution. Don't jump to violence, which I mean that's what one of the messages of The Last Jedi was. So yeah, Ahsoka to me, even though she claims over and over that she is no Jedi, she is.
That's the argument that he threw out there, is that she isn't a Jedi. That he kept throwing that out there at me, and I was like, yeah, I mean,
Not by
she is
their
though, like she
definition.
is.
But none of them, I don't think, none of the prequel era Jedi, for the most part, were what the Jedi were supposed to be. And Yoda admits that in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah. Whether or not she admits to being a Jedi doesn't necessarily mean she's not the best model of a Jedi, like what they're supposed to be.
Cool.
Fair.
Well, hey, it was solidified for me. That's all I was looking for. It works
He
for
won
me.
the argument, so it's
It
gonna
totally
definitely
works for
work
me.
for him.
Well, on that, sticking with Star Wars just a little bit, with all of I did want to ask, because it's something that's obviously hot commodity with The Mandalorian season 2 and all these rumored characters that are supposedly going to be popping up. If you guys had to choose one, or you would want to see one, is there one specific that you'd want to see in the season?
Let's count to three and say it at the same time, because I think we have the same answer. 1, 2, 3. Bo-Katan.
Yeah, I like
Another
that. I like that
character.
choice.
We love Battlestar Galactica, first of all. I love Katie Sackhoff and everything she does, and I'm so excited to potentially see her as live action Bo-Katan. Like, I've been cheering for that for forever.
Yeah, we have both been like, before any of these casting announcements came out, we were like, I think Bo-Katan makes sense to be in here. What with everything in the Darksaber, I also think thematically she would fit very well with what does it mean to be a Mandalorian, and she was once their leader. I think she'd have some very interesting interactions with Din.
Mhm.
I think that she makes a lot of sense, more immediate sense than some of the other casting announcements they've made. Not, I'm still excited about them, but
Yeah.
Bo-Katan makes sense to me.
And would she tie into, in your opinion, because it's something that I think too, tie into the Night of a Thousand Tears?
I mean, well, the Night of a Thousand Tears, I think people are mixing some of this up. That is from the Siege of Mandalore. I think we already
Got it.
saw that, quote unquote.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the Purge,
The Great Purge.
yeah, that, I mean, it's probably a Night of 5,000 Tears. I don't know. It's probably worse. I think she could play into that. Like, my big worry about her appearance is that she will be in a flashback, and that she'll just be.
That's what I've been saying.
Right.
Yeah.
I will be very disappointed if that's the case. If it's just like, it's Katie Sackhoff. Oh no, she's dead now, and she lost the Darksaber. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. I want her to lose the Darksaber and maybe be on a quest to get it back, or something like that.
Yeah, I think Filoni, like, he created her character, right? Or
She
co-create.
and George Lucas did. I mean,
Yeah, and
George Lucas and he.
yeah, I don't think he would let her come in just to be killed off.
Yeah,
like, in
I
the
don't.
same episode.
I don't think they would cast Katie Sackhoff and announce it as if she were going to be like a few seconds or even a minute. Like I think she'll probably only be in one episode just based on how season 1 went. But I think it'll be a significant role. I hope.
I hope so too, and maybe it speeds into something else. Who knows with how they're going in Star Wars and live action. Brian, you got anything else?
No, I was gonna say you should pitch your theory that you've been hyping on, that that third Mandalorian in Clone Wars is the armorer.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't know if we'll ever know now, but it's something that I had an idea about. But now that it's over, it's like, well, who knows if that story will actually ever be told again. So it would have been a cool tease, but it's not something that's necessary because we already had Ursa Wren too. So all right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us today and talking everything. Like we said, a lot to get to, and we are very excited to have you guys on and discuss all these things. And we're very excited to see where you guys go with different factions, which makes it even that much more fun. And these 2 tournaments coming in. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. And again, Alex and Mollie Damon, guys, you guys can check him out upcoming in the IG and Star Wars tournaments. Star Wars starts next week. The IG starts in June. And of course, Alex will be defending the Star Wars championship at some point later on. So we'll see that happen. But for now, thank you guys for joining us. We'll go ahead and say our goodbyes. Have a good Sunday afternoon. And hopefully we'll talk to you guys soon in the upcoming future.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Good luck.
Later. Cool. All right, Brian. Well, there it is. Our interview with Alex and Mollie Damon of Star Wars Explained. Very, very cool interview. A lot of cool answers. Exactly what we were hoping for when we got this.
Absolutely. I mean, I had to kept being like reel back, like, nope, we're not going to talk Star Wars. We're going to talk Schmoedown.
we probably could have spent the next half hour just literally asking Star Wars questions, but we want to make sure that we do stick to the Schmoedown, and they're heavily involved with a lot of things going on, and their names pop up quite a bit, obviously, with the fans, and so it was definitely a fun time to talk to them about certain things and free agency and how crazy that was, and obviously the exhibition matches and the Lord of the Rings one being so huge over the last week or so. It fit perfectly to have them on this weekend.
Oh yeah. I mean, that Lord of the Rings match is, it's funny because it's an exhibition match, but that's like an instant classic. Like it's
all time. Yeah. Like it's funny because they were talking in the Facebook group. Someone had asked, are exhibition matches eligible for matches of the year? And I'm okay with that. Like,
me too.
I know it doesn't mean anything, but you would have to think that it just makes sense for every match, because even the Back to the Future match and the Match of the Champions, all of them could be considered match of the year at this point, with Lord of the Rings obviously taking the cake because they went 20 overtime rounds. 20.
We should have asked how long it actually was, because they were cuts. It was certain cuts between questions that I bet you they were easily there for at least 2 hours. Because recording was an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah, definitely a little longer than probably it led on to be. But I loved having Brad and Smets on. That was an incredible interview that we were able to do, and Rachel was great last week. But being who we are, and being how Star Wars is a huge part of our life, and Innergeekdom stuff as well, and having followed them for a while, it was a really, really cool interview to get to talk to them and have a chance to chat. And now that we have, hopefully we're able to have them back in the future as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at who we've interviewed. We haven't interviewed 1, not 2, but now 3, because of Mollie, Star Wars competitors, and there's only been 1 match the whole entire year.
I know.
So, I mean, it's going to be good, and I'm glad we're getting the exhibitions have been amazing, like better than anything we could have ever asked for. I mean, if I can't even imagine like not having them at this point. It's just like, I mean, we got used to the one a week that instead of the two like our normal, and that was fine. But you kind of just were like, man, I'm missing what could have been. And then, I mean, especially with all the stuff that's been going on this year and how great it's been turning out, you're like, damn, like the season was going to be good. And then we threw the exhibitions and it was like, we're right back into it. Like the same level of excitement. It doesn't mean anything points wise, but like no one cares. Like these matches have been so good that, again, no one cares. These matches are just absolute barn burners. And I mean, we're seeing people at these competitors at their strengths throwing blows. I mean, the championship match, it was anyone's game. Anyone's. And I don't think anyone would have thought like Damon or Smets would have a chance against Morrow and Roca. And anyone could. I mean, look at how it turned out. The exhibition matches have been a far greater thing than we could have ever hoped for.
I'm with you, but I will say going forward, I'm campaigning for 2: Indiana Jones, and I want Molly and one with Buffy and Rachel.
I told you, I've been trying to push that.
It makes sense that, and I should have known it, but her matches were so long ago. A Alex Damon versus a Mara Knopic Indiana Jones championship match. Oh my goodness! You know how much I love Andy. You know how much I love Andy.
Oh, I know.
I would be all over that.
I think anyone would. Just the names alone would pull you in for a match. But then you're going to throw something as beloved as Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Whew, people would.
Those would be some deep cut questions too.
Oh, they would have to be, because those two. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to pull deep to stump one of them. Because
it's cool. It would also be cool because Indiana Jones questions, they don't pop up as much as other stuff.
No,
they're not really. There's very few questions that have been asked in a long period of time, and so it'd be very cool to kind of. That's what I like about these exhibitions, is that they're giving, like, of course we want the Lord of the Rings because there's 4 incredibly talented people who can do Lord of the Rings. We want the James Bond because it makes sense with Kalinowski and some other people, right?
And who doesn't like James Bond?
Well, but I love the exhibitions because, like, for example, the Rocky Championship or, the new releases, they're different categories and subjects outside of the regular version of the Schmoedown, and it brings out the strengths of some other people that can compete in these. So we saw Frank Janish in the Back to the Future match. We saw Brad in the Back to the Future match, and it's fun because it's still competitive, and we've talked about it. It's still competitive, and it's still very much the Schmoedown, but it's such a different breath of fresh air from everything else. Indiana Jones, and then they can do a TV one. That'd be awesome. I'd be down for a TV one.
No one's going to complain about seeing Molly and Rachel go up against.
It'd be so sweet.
Oh my God.
And she just threw the gauntlet. She'd be like, yeah, I'd win that one. She just said that. So mark it here.
It was not even a question.
Not even fazed by it.
Against Rachel. So, I mean, like,
that'd be cool.
I think one of the things that's also really helping these exhibitions is the actual matches themselves, the fan bases that come with what's being competed against is huge. I mean, who doesn't love a Back to the Future? There's a huge fan base for Lord of the Rings, James Bond, Jurassic Park. Like, it's things movie lovers love to watch. And even though, like, the new releases where it's not a specific thing, we see a lot of these movies. So then it gives people like, oh, I can answer some of these. Like, it's really fun because you get to interact with it too. Like it's not singles or teams where it's just anything. If you're good at that subject, it's like almost kind of like I can compete against them.
Yeah.
It's just so it's like it's cool. It's unique for the fans because we get to then sit at home and go, I knew that one and so didn't know it. Or just whatever. It's really fun, and who knows, maybe, I mean, the popularity that's bringing it could just be a normal like fun thing. Maybe they have like an all-star week every year, kind of like sports do. And the all-star
cool.
week is just
it's going to grow to something. It's going to grow to something to like that level, and Harloff's going to have to come up with different ideas. And the exhibitions will become more popular because more people are going to sign up on the Patreon for those matches, and they're going to have to give out more stuff for it, obviously. So
absolutely, that has to be one of the best things, because I mean, people are willing and throwing the $10 for something like that, where Lord of the Rings, where it went 20 extra rounds. Take the money any day.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to be discussing these brand new brackets that came out this last week for both the Star Wars and IG tournaments. We obviously just talked a lot with Alex and Mollie about them because they are both competing in separate brackets. And you know, it's funny. I was trying to get them to like throw a little promo or something in there, and they just wouldn't bite. They're just that nice of people.
They're too nice.
They're faces. They're not heels, and so they're just gonna be like, yeah, like sure, if they want to talk, like
we don't know if what Mollie's gonna be like when she.
That's true. That's true. I was throwing the bait out there, and I didn't get anything this time, but maybe next time. But yeah, so we'll go and start with the IG tournament. We talked a lot of Star Wars with them, so let's go and switch gears a little bit. The IG tournament obviously was it came out, and then Schmoedown community lit itself on fire. And then they readjusted things. It's very funny how the community works and how social media has a power over certain things. And we're not going to take too much time on this. We're kind of just going to run through it and throw a sentence or two at it very, very quickly. But so we have two play-in matches. The first one happens this week on Wednesday. That is Jim Vejvoda versus. Oh no, excuse me. It is. That's correct. This doesn't happen until June. I'm thinking Star Wars.
Yeah,
this doesn't happen until June. That's my bad. The play-in game is Jim Vejvoda for the Rockstars versus Ben Goddard for the Den. That is because Ben Goddard is making his debut in the league, and so he got the play-in. And the opposite side of the bracket, the play-in game is Greg Alba for Quirky Mercs playing up against Warfather for the Burning Droogs, which is a very interesting play-in game there. But I have a feeling that Robert Meyer Burnett kind of made that decision because he also has Brandon Hanna at the top of the bracket now. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about these as they come along. We might do special episodes previewing and breaking down these specifically. But yeah, I mean, they seem like they're well balanced. Ben Goddard obviously is on fire right now. He can do no wrong. Jim Vejvoda, we know what he's capable of, especially with Roxy in his corner. Warfather we saw in singles, we didn't see in IG, so I'm interested to see what happens there. And Greg Alba, clearly he knows his geek stuff from his channel and his team's match with Real Rejects, and so no surprise here. What do you think of these two matches, Brian?
I love it. I think these matches every match is going to be fantastic. I mean, I would assume a lot of these, if not most, were pooled by rankings. But I mean, some of these matches are going to be like that. You see that you're just like, oh, holy crap! Like that's going to be a fight. I mean, if Warfather gets past Greg Alba, he's got KO. It's like, and
hey, whoever gets past, yes, and that's on the opposite side as well. Whoever, yeah. And that's how it should work. That's how sports works, and so that's exactly how this should work. The play-in game, as bad as it sounds, they play the number one seed. Yeah. It's how it works. It's how it's always worked. And so whoever wins versus Vejvoda and Goddard faces Parker. Obviously, he in many minds is a favorite. Kalinowski on the other side is also considered a favorite by many as well. So Alba and Warfather, that winner will play Kalinowski, and there's that match. We scoot up the bracket, and we have a rematch, but in Geek this time, in Innergeekdom, between Chance Ellison and Paulo Yama. Obviously, two guys that came up from the fan leagues who have great knowledge, but have gone at each other's throats ever since they came up in the leagues. And then on the opposite side, that one of the names that was switched around was Emily Rose Jacobson versus Eric Zipper, who Zipper is making his debut. Emily Rose Jacobson was originally playing the Barbarian, and some things got switched around, and Zipper was originally playing Janine. And so those two matches, I mean, in my opinion, they're pretty even on both sides. And if I were to predict right this second, I would say Paulo Yama against Ellison, and then I'll take Jacobson over Zipper just at this moment in time. This could very well change when these matches come.
Yeah, the Oyama and Ellison one, I think
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Have my most curiosity, especially in this first round. I can almost see that match being like a who misses one first. Mm-hmm. Like those two are just incredible when it comes to trivia. I mean, you cannot sleep on either of them for a second because they will beat you in that 1 second. So that one is great. Zipper and Jacobson. Zipper is going to be coming for blood after he lost that match.
Singles match, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the same tournament, but you could tell he wants to win. Like, he was visibly upset and frustrated when he lost to Stacey Howard, and he's not going to let something like Chance, not the competitor, just something like Stacey pulling questions out of the air and beat him. I don't think he's going to let that happen again. He's going to make sure he knows it, so that way that's not even an option anymore. And Emily Rose Jacobson is a beast. She doesn't get enough credit. No, she is someone that I personally, when I first started hearing about her, I've kind of had an eye on, and just she's a sleeper. She is one of those ones. She's like a Black Widow. She'll creep on you and take you out. And the fact that she's on Finstock too makes her that much more deadly. So that's going to be a good match too. On both of those, it's literally going to be a coin toss, I feel like, and just a matter of who slips first.
Agreed. Okay, so going up the bracket on the left side here, we have Janine for the usual suspects going up against John Humphrey for the Quirky Merc. So the real rejects are in the tournament on opposite sides of the bracket for Koi. And then on the right side of the bracket, we have Alex Damon for Roxy playing Jen Kemp, and we just asked him about that. You guys can hear his thoughts if you're catching this show a little later. If you skip forward, his thoughts are a little bit earlier in the show on that one. I do expect Alex to take the W on that one, but like you said, I'm not. Jen's going to put up a fight. She's a name that's been thrown around for a long time, and then I'm not really sure on the Janine John Humphrey match. It's kind of a toss up on that one. But I got to say, and we have two matches to talk about, two left. But the way the bracket shifted around after they switched things around, it's a very even bracket. It really is. There's a match here or there. There's a match here or there that you can consider like a wallop or like an easy W, but it's a very even bracket on all sides. And I think when they ultimately switched it all, it made more sense this way. And everyone should be happy with how they're ending up because they're all going to be battles. They're all going to be great matches. Like I said, there's going to be few that are a TKO or a KO or, maybe someone has a bad day, but I like the way it's set up right now. And like I said, we have two more to talk about.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's kind of surprising, but if you look at that bracket, other than Swag, no team has a chance of playing their own faction mate.
Well, other than Burning Drew's on the other side.
Oh, you're correct. Okay, sorry.
So yeah, it was originally Swag and Finstock Exchange were both on the left side, and then they switched Emily Rose Jacobson with Janine, and they split up usual suspects. So either way, either way, someone's going to be playing each other if they get that
Yeah.
far. There's no way around it. It's just that now this time it's a little bit more even because
Yeah.
no matter how much we like Emily Rose Jacobson, but putting her up against the Barbarian is pretty unfair. It's
Right
a
off,
little,
especially right off the bat.
yeah. And even though she's the experienced one, the Barbarian looks like he
I mean, he could be a
has all
full
the-
title for all
well,
we know.
he literally looks like he's a dictionary. Like it's not even fair. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so, but yeah,
What's cool also is, let's say that does happen where it's faction mate versus faction mate. That cannot literally bracket wise happen till the semifinals.
exactly. And that's the way they broke it up. Because originally, I think if I'm correct,
The second round.
it was the second round for both the Usual Suspects and Finstock Exchange if they won. And so
Yeah.
that's why they broke it up that way, to make sure that it was as late as possible, which makes sense.
Yeah, and it's going to work better to the favor as far as the ones we were talking about. I'll say Damon probably will get through with that one. And you know what? I think Janine is going to make a name for herself in this one. So I would not be surprised that if she, like, where you're just like, whoa, like,
And
that's
Sam
the
Sam needs the points. And Sam needs the points.
yeah. And I mean, I'm not saying sleep on Humphrey, but Janine is, I feel like, going to be tired of being that one that people are like,
Agreed.
well, look at Shannon when she's like, oh, sweet Janine doesn't win a match. Janine is not the type of person that wants that name sitting around long, so she's going to make sure she wins.
Agreed. Okay, so the final two matches that we have to talk about are haymakers in their own right. We have the Barbarian versus Adam Lavick, and Adam Lavick, the last time we saw him was San Diego last year, and the guy had just come off like a 14-hour day working the halls at the Comic-Con, coming to match, and
Poor guy was late because he was.
It's not an excuse, but it also is an excuse at the same time, because when you're exhausted, and they've talked about it multiple times, you're emotionally exhausted and it's hard to compete.
Yeah.
I think this match is going to be awesome. Lavick versus the Barbarian. They're both incredibly knowledgeable. If they get categories they like, it's just going to be punch for punch. On the other side, this might be the most controversial match of the first round. That is Brandon Hanna versus Saul. And the smack talk has already begun as well. And if you guys have been paying attention to Twitter and all that stuff, you guys are seeing that Brandon Hanna and Saul are kind of going after each other. Saul is making his debut in the Schmoedown period. Brandon Hanna just got traded from the Den, who Saul plays for, and his first match is going to go up against them. And he's been saying he's going to light them on fire. He's going to end them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. But I do expect Brandon Hanna to win this match.
I agree. Brandon Hanna's gonna probably make like a scary name for himself in this match, I feel like. And dude, Barbarian is terrifying as far as his trivia knowledge. Like, it, to me, the thing I think that really made me like take him serious was the Jurassic Park, where I was just like, holy crap. Like,
he beat Perry and Cody, who those two did a 55-point Ironman match 2 years ago.
I know. And so I'm just like up until then, I was like, yeah, this guy's good. He's very good. And I'm just like, holy crap.
He seems to know everything.
I literally was just sitting there kind of going like, crap, what doesn't he know? Like, what does he have a weakness? Like, it's almost kind of like, it almost doesn't seem like he has a weakness, and that's terrifying, especially since he's got Finstock type people behind him. And so it's like, oh man, this could be scary.
Yeah. So that's the IG tournament. Let's go and shift gears to the Star Wars tournament. Less players in this one, obviously. There's only 8 of them. Well, 9 of them with a play-in. The play-in game, which happens this Wednesday, guys, on Twitch. Make sure you guys aren't just following the Schmoedown on Twitch, but you're checking everything out. Don't believe the haters who are hating on Twitch. It is much simpler than you think it is. It is not that difficult. Go over there and follow the Schmoedown. You guys can literally click a link, click the heart and start watching. It is just like YouTube in that way. But the playing game on Wednesday, which is going to be live on Twitch, is Ace Cabrera for Swag and Josh Covedo for now the Rockstars. Roxy traded for him for this specific reason. This is going to be a really cool match because we know obviously Ace comes from a little bit of a Star Wars history. His name on Twitter is Squad Leader Ace. Like he loves Star Wars. Like he loves it. But we've been hearing about Quevedo for a while now. Sean Sullivan mentioned him to us, and we have not seen him in the Schmoedown yet. So I expect this match to kick off the tournament and be a cool one. I don't think either of these guys are capable of winning at all, in my opinion. But I do think they're both capable of shaking things up a little bit and maybe being like that underdog story like you would see in March Madness that knocks off a team here, knocks off a team here.
The next one gets Ken.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think both of them have the capability and even the luck to possibly shake things up by playing him and possibly beating him. But jumping ahead, I do like the match, and I think that's going to be a really fun match to watch, especially to kick off the tournament.
Yeah, I agree too. I probably am gonna go with Quevedo on that one. But
I'm gonna pick Ace just for the hell of it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But that's also because I've seen him more.
Yeah. But like I said, whoever sneaks out of this gets Ken next, and we know what Ken's capable of and what he's crap talking about.
Yeah, like I was just gonna say, he's officially put himself back into heel mode, and he's like full all in on doing this again for the time being. And he's doing it for Robert Meyer Burnett because he got traded. So it's a little bit of a different side of that. But yeah, so that winner plays Ken. A very cool match. On the opposite side of the bracket, we have an absolute heavy hitter, a ridiculous first round. And again, there's only 8 of them, only 8 players. But we have Joseph Scrimshaw for Quirky Mercs, who is, as of right now, the only person to take Alex Damon to the last question, versus Andrew Demolanta for the FinSock Exchange. And we know what Demolanta's been doing all over social media and in his videos about saying, I'm going to run through people. I want Damon. I want Damon. I want Damon. Unfortunately for him, he has to face the person who has given Damon the most trouble to this point, and that is Joseph Scrimshaw. I will take Scrimshaw in this match. I do take Scrimshaw in this match.
I was going to agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I think this is another come down to the last question.
It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be. A fight.
I won't say come down to the last question. It's gonna who slips, who makes a stupid error or something that you're just like afterwards. You're just like, oh my god, I knew that. Or it's just one of those things. But this is gonna be a scare. All of these matches are gonna be like you don't know, like they're. If you think someone's outright going to beat someone, you're overthinking that underthinking that other person. But I'll probably take Scrimshaw on that one.
Yeah, and we flip ourselves over to the other side of the bracket on the top, and we have maybe the most exciting match of the tournament as far as personalities go. Laura Kelly for Corruption versus Sean Sullivan for the Den. We've seen Sean Sullivan so far, and he'll probably tell you that he didn't play his best in the first round, but he navigated his way through some questions, and like he said he overthinked some of the questions in the first round that he should have gotten. So now that he has that out of the way, but you're facing Laura Kelly, who she's a beast, man. She's a beast. Like, she knows her stuff and she knows it well. She's also an incredibly great personality to have in this league, and then you tie her with Shannon, who she didn't have a manager last year. This is Shannon as of right now, because Mike won't be playing in the IG tournament for a few weeks. This is Shannon's focus. This is all Shannon's focus. We don't know when the match will be, but this is the one match out of all of them so far that I don't know who's going to win, and I can't pick someone right now. I think that both of them have a great chance at winning, but I do think that it'll come down to final question, a slip up, third round, whatever it may be. It's a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll start to think about it and lean towards one way, and then I'm like, no, and then
Yeah.
I'll lean the other way, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, no. Laura Kelly is scary.
Yeah.
She like
She killed it at Spectacular last year. She
yeah,
killed it.
she is a scary competitor, but that doesn't mean you sleep on Sullivan. We don't know. We don't know what he's been doing. I mean, his match was so long ago at this point. And we know the guy knows his stuff. So, I mean, that's to me, I would say out of this whole thing, that might be the most interesting match to me to watch.
I'm 100% with you. And it's also Shannon versus Kate is also a cool little manager duel between those two. Opposite side of the spectrum. Maybe Grace will show up in that one, being that she was part of Corruption at one point, which will be fun. But we flip our thoughts to the other side of the bracket, and it's one we just talked about with Mollie. She's going to be debuting for Sam Levine and the Usual Suspects against Adam Witt, who is for the Dungeon. I love Adam. I think is not like they were saying. The Delphine question is just ridiculous. The fact that he pulled that. Very interesting take by them, whether he knew it or not. I never really thought about that. But I am gonna take Mollie in this one. I will take Mollie in this one. I think that she's gonna have a little bit of that rookie first time luck. I guess you could say beginner's luck a little bit. But it's gonna be through her knowledge, and it's just everything's gonna go her way. She's gonna rock it. She's gonna crush it. And I do think that Mollie will take the W in this one.
To me, it's funny because the thing I think that might determine this one is the wheel round. I truly believe that might be.
And remember, it's a virtual wheel now.
True. So whatever the second round, because if Witt gets some category, I feel like he's the type of person where out of all these people, if it's an obscure category and he gets it, he will do really well at. Like, I could see him being like really well at like ships and guns or something like that, where everyone else is just like crap. With Mollie though, she trains with the champion. So I mean, it's hard to not think that she's gonna just come out there and destroy. But again, you can't sleep on Witt. At the end of it, I probably will agree with you and take Mollie on this one, because I mean, she isn't going to want to debut wife of the champion and lose first round, right? It's not. Yeah, it's going to be a good match. I think the second round is going to be a determining factor where the wheel.
She's on a very tough side of the bracket. She's on a very tough side of the bracket.
Very tough side.
And I don't know how. I mean, I'm surprised. I am a little surprised that she wasn't in the playing game, but it makes sense because she does have a 0-1 record at the moment, so she is considered a player. But you had said that she trains with the champion. She doesn't just train with him; she trains him. She's the one who, like Alex had just said, she's the one asking me questions. She's the one telling me to watch movies. Like, she's in it, constantly with him, and so it only makes sense that her knowledge is very close to his or on par as far as stuff that they study. So
absolutely. It's going to be
all right, guys. Well, yeah, that wraps up our tournament breakdowns of the announcements. Again, there's a lot to do over the next number of weeks, and we might implement some quick videos, some breakdowns of matches, because we will be getting these, and instead of waiting because we won't be able. I don't know if we'll be able to do reactions to these, and so we might just do full on in-depth breakdowns of the matches going forward. So look out for that. So the first match is this Wednesday.
10-15 minute recaps
because they're going to be airing live on Twitch, and that's going to be hard to do a reaction to and then download the video and everything. So we might switch gears here for a little while. Instead of doing reactions, we might do a little breakdowns and reviews, recaps, maybe even get some of the competitors on those, and we'll definitely get them on here as well. We've done a great job of having guests the last couple of weeks, and it's been a lot of fun talking to a lot of guests. So But as far as wrapping up the show, Brian, do you want to run through these points just very quickly? I know you got to pull it up. I'm putting you on the spot here.
I was like, oh, we're going there.
I know we did it. I know we did it on our reaction, but the problem is we did have a malfunction with our reaction. There was a technical difficulty, and so we can run through the points here quickly, just because there was a little bit of a shakeup that did put one team above someone else that into this hiatus of matches.
Yes. So as of right now, this is as of the Stacey Howard and Erica Zipper match. Finstock Exchange is in first place, 16 points. The Den is in second place with 10 points. Swag is in third place with 10 points. Burning Droogs are in fourth place with 6 points. Rock Stars are in fifth place with 6 points. The Usual Suspects are in sixth place with 4 points. The Dungeon is in seventh place with 4 points. The Corky Mercs are in eighth place with 3 points. And Corruption is sitting in ninth place with 2 points. And then we know, obviously, this will be updated due to the Pride winning. So I believe they're going to be at 11 points. Maybe
they get
12.
1 point for the victory over Real Rejects.
So that will probably, it will definitely solidify them at second place with a point above Swag.
Yes, which is what I was alluding to earlier. They're officially in second place. They break that tiebreaker right there. And going into this hiatus of less matches. But the cool thing is that starting Wednesday, we do have matches that are for points, and that's going to change a lot of things going forward. And so that's a good thing for the Schmoedown. So there it is, guys. A certain point of view for this week. A great episode. We spent 25-30 minutes with two great people in Alex and Mollie Damon. We had mentioned it on our Twitter, and we had mentioned it here quickly. Two people that we've been wanting on the show for a while, and we're very lucky to have them on at the time we got them on because of everything that's been going on with them as far as matches and
two busy people.
Stuff. Yeah, very much. And they're busy running the channel and doing their thing, and we obviously follow that. And so if you did not catch that, if you're skipping ahead or something or watching this late, make sure you check out that interview. I will probably more than likely clip it out on the channel because it was a great discussion and conversation with them. Brian, any final thoughts before we get out of here this week, man?
Dude, I am so ready for these tournaments. It's going to be a bloodbath, and I am so here for it. I cannot wait. And I feel like the standings, no one's safe anymore now that these tournaments are going on.
No, and they're doing whatever they can to make sure that every faction is capable of shifting gears. A team like let's use Usual Suspects for example, right? They're sitting at the bottom, haven't been doing very well. They trade a bunch of people. They trade for Ethan Irwin. They signed someone like Mollie Damon and Robert from Late to the Party, and they look like they could be a team who instantly raises their status in these standings, and it's a great thing for the league in general.
Yeah, I mean, if it hasn't already been solidified as a sport for how this is going, it absolutely is now with free agency, these teams trading, dropping people. It's incredible, and it's funny how it's coming so perfectly at a time when we don't have professional sports going on, and for us sports heads, it's given us our fix. And I mean, it's I don't think, as much as it's been going haywire, I don't think anyone could have expected it to be this awesome as it's going right now, and it's only going to get better.
Agreed. Could not agree more with you. So again, guys, that is a certain point of view this week. Thank you guys for joining us so much. Make sure you guys follow us, not just on YouTube and not just Twitter at Schmoedown POV, but you guys can follow us on our personal channels as well as audio. So Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Google, all that good stuff. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we are on there, our weekly show. Going forward, if we do match breakdowns, we'll probably include those on audio as well. Again, thank you to Alex and Mollie Damon for joining us. That was an absolute blast. We were very excited to have that, and it turned out very well. So again, guys, this is a certain point of view for Brian. I got to point the right way. For Brian, for myself, this is a certain point of view. And it's so weird because I'm pointing to you on the screen, but it's going the opposite way. So I have to point. It's so strange. Anyway, that is a certain point of view. Jake, Brian, thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.